Hello and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology Debunking Mythology. So we have
Hello.
hello, we have Galit and Richard.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to this special edition. So today we are celebrating the release of Adi's latest book, one of many, The Interstellar War. So we're going to devote a bunch of time to that. Lots of good reason to celebrate his accomplishment in this major endeavor of writing the book, releasing it to the public. So without further ado, Adi, tell us a little bit about this book and what are you excited about?
So recently there was a study published in Stanford University, and it came after I started writing the book. And I think actually a couple of years ago, uh, it spoke about the Y chromosome uh, bottleneck, and they surmised, I won't say with proof, they surmised that the Y chromosome disappeared. One particular Y chromosome, major Y chromosome, disappeared 7,000 years ago, and it was related to one large fratricidal war. And I was writing this book, and it was very interesting that the timing of this book, the history is also 7,000 years, and only one man was left for 17 women. That was the massacre. 1.66 billion people killed in that war, using all kinds of weapons which were not made on earth. It were not just bows and arrows. It was celestial. It came from different places. So it was a real multiverse war which happened on earth. And so I compiled this when I wrote this book. Is a translation from Mahabharata, but with specific pointers towards the war, only focus on the war. And the story is, I mean, you see the real men and using principles and values in the war also, and not afraid of bloodshed, like not scared of bloodshed. I mean, if there is a wound on the body, we celebrate, not just cry, no cry. So that's the kind of story it is. I mean, you will love it. You're a martial arts expert, so you know that.
Yeah, no, with that being said, awesome, interesting, lots of different topics. And who do you see this book reaching, right? Who are you thinking about as the end reader when you were writing this?
I want everyone to read this book, including Elon Musk, because he talks a lot about Mars and other planets, and also those people who are worried about UFOs, aliens, alien invasion. I mean, human society has not existed on its own without support from people from other planets. It's always been a cooperation. Sometimes war, yes, does happen, but all of us have come from somewhere else. We are not just here. So technically, we are all aliens in a way, and technically, we are not.
Yeah, very interesting. I can see how this book will appeal to lots of people. You know, you have the military, essence, and you go into a lot of details about military and warfare. So I think that'll appeal to a lot of people. The sci-fi, again, we use the word sci-fi, which I think is just kind of a Hollywood term. Basically, it's the bigger picture. So let's use that term, the bigger picture. So I think you're going to tie into a lot of people. And Galit definitely loves the exploring the beyond where we're at. So what are your thoughts on that, Galit?
I actually do have a question for you, Adi, about these weapons. Since you describe them as more powerful than today's technology, and can you share how you conceptualize these prehistoric armaments?
Yeah, I think people imagine, and many things they show in the movies, especially the animated ones, are pretty real to this book. Pretty real. Like, for example, a weapon is called Agneastra, which means a fire weapon. So what it does is that when it is released, and obviously they use, now the word mantra is very misunderstood in the modern world. Mantra doesn't mean something repeatable. Mantra means which delivers the mind. That's the meaning of the actual meaning of mantra. So mantras are special invocation codes. Like, for example, we use some invocation for the software programs, like a voice-based cue or a signal-based cue, and then the weapon gets released. Whether you press a button or you shout at it or you say with the voice. With the AI, that will become very real. So, in this book, weapon called Agneastra, what it does is it produces fire in everything on the battlefield. So, and it is coming from the sky, and everybody's clothes are burning, and they are getting burnt right there, like a boiled potato. And the counter to this weapon is Varunastra, which is the showers. It collects clouds over the specific territory, not just everywhere, and targeted rains on that object. And to remove that weapon is Vayavastra, which is the wind. And you know that wind is the most powerful element that we face. It can lift oceans, it can do many things. It spreads fire, is the most powerful of all of them. And then the Vayavastra is used to dispel everything. And then after that comes Vajrastra, which is specific targeting, like a thunderbolt, like in the Western mythology, they use Odin. Odin as carrying a thunderbolt. Odin is a Greek and ancient Mesopotamian figure. So, and Hubal also carrying a Vajra. And so these are all weapons being used in sequence. And if that fails, then you have another weapons called Bhargavastra, which is targeted killing at a mass level. And above all is Brahmastra. And then beyond that is Shitastra, which produces snow in the battlefield. So, and there is another weapon which is used by the Rakshas, like they can rain stones from the sky and disappear. And so these are all sequence of weapons which are not on Earth. Like most of the weapons today we have are only fire element. Like we have a missile, we have hypersonic missiles, or we have electromagnetic waves. Plus we discovered a new technique of orbs, where we can disappear things from the sky on radars only. But here there is no such thing. Here is you can throw a weapon and the sky vanishes. So there is no sky above you. So, and there is no air. So those kind of things which I saw, because without that you cannot kill 1.66 billion people. Without that, humanly not possible. And an amazing thing, Richard, you'll be surprised, the stamina. The people are fighting whole day in the most gruesome possible way, like shooting 10,000 arrows to kill 10,000 soldiers. And then, but they're not tired. They go back, rest for a few hours, come back again in the morning, and with same vigor. So it was a experience to write this book actually.
Right.
So with that level of technology with weapons, right, back then, why do you think in the essence of your thoughts is why we don't have that technology today? Why did it slowly disappear or disappear like suddenly, that technology?
So all these technologies, so it's a wrong scientific understanding that we are more advanced than before. By the way, we have just created more killing opportunities, targeted weapons, and our human capability is much more less than, like I just told you, the stamina of these guys.
Right.
Each one of them, I'm not just saying one, each one of them, the stamina, like flying high in the air, three-dimensional warfare, and then martial arts, three-dimensional, and then using swords. Just imagine, it's very common in this war to cut an arrow with another arrow. Very common. It's very common in this arrow to, and also the meteorite wars, like they can pick up a small object, use invocation mantra, and throw it. It becomes a missile, targeted missile. And then cutting that with a sword, holding it in the hand, and where it's burning in the hand. So that kind of speed, presence of mind, and skill level is beyond what we see. And I think this war was a major reason why we don't have these technologies now. Because now these technologies are hidden from today's age because we will kill each other unnecessarily because there is no wisdom left. Already we are creating so much damage with all the targeted killings we have all over the world. So this book was an eye-opener for me also, because I did not go into so much details before. And each of the characters and how powerful they are. I mean, they look very soft due to media, but they're not. Like even a 15-year-old boy, Abhimanyu, is like it's a fire on the battlefield. Like you cannot even stop him, and he's fighting with somebody who is 400 years old, and that man is 400 years old and jumping like a small kid. Going in the air and then bring the chariots down. I mean, imagine killing an elephant with a sword in one shot, one one arm movement, cutting the head off, or using your own hands to pull the elephant, scratch it, and then throw it on the other side. I mean, you cannot even imagine those kind of skills today. So I think the human capability has gone down a lot in last 7,000 years, and also it's a concept of age as well. That the previous age was people had longer lives and stronger bodies, but now the size and the age has reduced, and the human capacity has also decreased. I didn't find anyone having sneeze. Nobody's hungry because they were all on liquid diets. No solid food in the war.
So you mentioned that it was over 1.66 billion deaths. So what message do you hope that your readers will take about humanity's past resilience?
The humanity needs to know the real history, because when they know the real history, then I think the original identity of people will come back. That we are not that weak. It's just the time is different now. It's time for us to also go back to, war is never good. No warrior supports a war. So I did write around almost 100 pages on why war is not good. And from the warrior's mouth, because the warrior knows war is not good. Because the families get destroyed, the parents get destroyed, children have no future. And you both are warriors, I know that. So you appreciate that every warrior doesn't like war. It's the people who have some greed in their heart want a war. So this whole war happened because of one person. And so today's humanity should learn that, first of all, we need to fight real wars so that we create real men, not just fake wars or for some ulterior motives. The war has to have a purpose, and this war had a purpose to establish the rule of dharma. That's the main thing. Dharma means law in Sanskrit. So, and the capacity of humans today is much less than before. We get killed by mosquito bites. Forget about anything else. Mosquitoes are the biggest killers on the world. Second is accidents on the road in the US, 67,000 deaths a year. I mean, so we have conveniences, but we have many things happening. So we are the fragile society today, in my opinion, as per this history.
Yeah, there's a famous saying, I'll cut it short for all purposes, but basically it says that hard times make strong people, easy times make weak people. And I think that's the progression, exactly what you're depicting in the book.
And they had a lot of luxury, more than today. But each one of them was having a whole army of support. And there was no, I mean, they had every single conveniences a man can hope for. A woman can hope for. Jewelry, like going into the battlefield with all gold laden jewelry and the armaments and every part of your body covered. So it also proves that the whole fake theory that the horses moved from Europe to other parts of Asia is totally wrong, because the amount of horses they were carrying is mind blowing. People will read that in the book. The amount of elephants they had and how decorated those elephants were, like the real iron armor covered on all sides of the elephant, and each elephant protected by at least 8-foot soldiers and chariots, and also every horse covered with metal armor, including so that to cover them, protect them. They took care of their animals very well, all well fed, and different colors: the gray horses, the green horses, the brown horses, the red horses, the white horses. and it's all about the horse, 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 and their food, their protectors. I mean, so every single detail was covered actually. The sword movement, I was shocked. How could you can take a sword forward, then upside down, and then three-dimensional movement of the sword, so you can cut off all the arrows. Just imagine you have a whole shower of arrows, and you're cutting each one of them with their swords and shields. And shields are made of strong metals. So the metallurgy was better than today, because a fire could not penetrate it, the arrows could not penetrate, and all these divine or whatever the interstellar weapons could not even enter there. So and also they're wearing the buffalo skin or the rhinoceros skinned armor. Even a modern bullet cannot penetrate that. And I think somebody on the YouTube should try that technique. So it shows the video where they are using a rhinoceros skin. Please don't kill rhinoceros or any of hippopotamus. I am against killing of any. There are already few left, but try like in a simulated way. They can try the thickness of the skin and the texture of the skin in a non. I mean, animals should not be hurt. We can make synthetic also.
So how could someone purchase your book, Adi? People definitely are interested. So now how do they get a hold of this new book?
Yeah, this book is available on Amazon and also Barnes and Nobles all over the country, in the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, and they can type Sattology on that and get the book. I mean, they will be. What I want to tell people is that don't think of us as the most advanced. Like we are definitely not advanced than before. Otherwise, we won't be opening so many hospitals. By the way,
Right.
so we are not that advanced yet technology.
And how do people get in touch with you if they want you to come and speak to their group, their organization, or their corporation in regard to the book or other matters of the other books you have out?
I think they should contact Learn Think Share, and Learn Think Share will organize the meetings for me, which you and Dalit represent, so they can contact us over there, because that's the best way to. Because we need that warrior spirit in our business communities as well, in our society as well. For children, we need that capability, because if we want to create good warriors, we need to know what it takes to be a good warrior. So first of all, values have to be there, because we are not creating criminals, we are creating high potential individuals. The values have to be there. A specific regimen of mental strength has to be there. Then the physical strength has to be there. And then the weapons training is given. Weapons training is not given just like that. Weapons training is given after you finish all these check boxes. Then you're given weapons training. Because if you have a crazy man with a weapon, it's going to just happen a crime in the society. You got to give a person who is already well trained in values, and then he's built up his physical stamina, and then you give him weapons so that he can show bravery, not cowardice, killing people or hurting people. We need strong warriors actually. We are lacking them today.
Absolutely. And it starts with the young adults. So like you said, the higher levels, the executives, corporate people, success, but it also starts with young adults, and they need to be instilled. And as everyone knows, but they don't always want to look at it, is that peace comes at a price. So you need to understand violence, you need to understand war to avoid it. It's like anything. If you want to avoid getting struck by lightning, what do? You learn where you're vulnerable. You learn how lightning strikes. You don't stay on a golf course. You don't have a metal rod. So I've always done that, as you know, Gleed and I pursuing teaching martial arts for our whole life. That's what you instill. It's an awareness. It's an awareness of violence and how to avoid it and how to keep peace. Because if you don't know that, then how are you going to deal with violence when it confronts you? And that's what happens a lot in society. People don't know how to respond when they're put on the spot, or when they meet with people who use violence as their main means of communication.
One thing I noticed here, Richard, is in this entire book, and I see such accomplished warriors on all sides, I don't see arrogance. I don't see pride. I see respect for good warriors, like a like a person called Dronacharya is appreciating an enemy, that what a fight he's giving me, and he's happy, and he wants him to fight, and they're both trying to kill each other, but he's appreciating the fight. He's saying, yes, fight more. And so that's the kind of values we are lacking today. We forget that at the end of the day, humility is our biggest virtue. And with such kind of weapons in their hands, I mean, they can destroy Earth many times. Not just that battlefield. That battlefield is 400 square miles, by the way. But they have the power to destroy this Earth, and they're stopping each other. Don't destroy the Earth, because the strongest one on the battlefield was Brahmastra, which is like we call it atom bomb. Atom bomb is very light because it spreads, it dries up the oceans, and it can be only cut by another Brahmastra, by another similar weapon. And the art of withdrawing the weapons before they reach the end. Nowadays, we don't have the capability. Once the weapon is released, it's released, but they can withdraw it, make it just like an arrow. So it just drops like an arrow. So those kind of, and what amazing humility they have. They're concerned about the families. They're concerned about the children. They're concerned about this thing. So they're not just fighting. So one party is fighting for the ego, another party is fighting to preserve dharma in the society or rule of law. And so it's amazing. Like, it's a story of virtues. It's a story of bravery. It's a story of chivalry. I want men to be men. Don't want men to be someone else, but this is meant to be men, and then women will be women. Nowadays, you see, I don't know what kind of society we have. Different values are being taught where men are subdued by law and everything else. But obviously the initial training is also lacking, the wisdom, the humility, the education. That's what the story is all about.
Yeah, and with great power comes great responsibility, and that's what we've endeavored with Learn, Think, and Share. Because at any level, CEOs who have a lot of power, they need to be responsible. And unfortunately, again, you can hold the individual accountable, but I think society in general, on a global level, has just focused on the achievements. It's focused on who's got the medals, who won the events, who won the awards, who won the business, without looking at, like you're saying, the integrity and the honor that went into it. There used to be, back in the day, growing up in Brooklyn, it was a very common phrase, honor among thieves, right? And that sounds odd, but there really was. Thieves had a certain code with which they followed. So I think we need to get back to that, and that's what our Learn, Think, Share is looking at, is giving not only the skills which people bring. CEOs have skills; they didn't get there because they don't have skills. But we're looking at giving them back maybe things they were not taught throughout their schooling or throughout their lives, or things that are not encouraged in their current workspace, and we implant that back into them to stand up strong as a man and a woman and have integrity.
This book is good for any leadership. Like, for example, leadership at the family level, leadership at the village level, because we are fighting every day our regular lives. And so this book will give the reader the confidence that, yes, I can also tide over this next crisis, because some people's crisis may be cakewalk for somebody else, but crisis is crisis, because the person who faces it, for him, that crisis is the worst crisis. So this book answers that, actually.
No, that is awesome, and thank you for sharing that with us. And everybody out there, definitely go and get this book, The Interstellar War. And when you get it, reach out to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to have discussions and input, because it's not a book that you just read and process. Again, learn, think, and share. You're going to have to share it with people, because there's a lot of data in there for discussion. So come to us with discussions. Reach out to us so we can get Adi in front of you and give you more insight on how this book can impact your lives and how it can improve your lives.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you, Galit, for doing the first promo on our channel. Thank you.
Yes.
It's our pleasure.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Thank you.